Trust online isn't about convincing someone. It's about reducing uncertainty. People are asking themselves often, not even knowing it. Will she disappear? Where will this change next month? Is it stable? But most definitely, they wonder, can I rely on this? Are you sitting in front of a pile full of tasks for your business, family, household, and everything else to do, and long for that to go away? The trick is creating passive income. Of course, there's some work behind the passive part, but working 20% compared to 120 completely turned around how I enjoy life today. Great to have you here. Are you ready to move the needle, work less, and earn more? Grab your latest craft project and your favorite drink. Let's stitch together purpose, profit, and peace to create the life we've long been wanting. Welcome back to a calmer, more aligned way of building online. I've been resting for the past few weeks, dealing with bronchitis and just resting. Resting is something that I'm actually greatly grateful for. No internal conflict and discussion if I should go to work or stay at home or take a nap or sit up and steam through the tasks in front of me. Again, it clearly shows there's so much to be grateful for. Not just my health returning, but that I can recoup in peace at my pace. Most of my life, it has not been that way. But now it is, and I am grateful for that. So today's episode was inspired by a LinkedIn post from a friend of mine, and one sentence really stayed with me. And that was, authenticity isn't a branding tactic. It's a leadership decision. And that really hit home. Because in today's digital world, authenticity is often treated like a marketing move. Post something vulnerable. Show behind the scenes of your day. Be real on purpose. But authenticity isn't performance. It's alignment and being natural. And if you're building an online business, especially in a season where flexibility, autonomy, or reinvention actually matters, this conversation is important. And today I want to talk about why authenticity is strategic and not soft, and why consistency matters more than perfect presentation. And also some practical changes you can make to build a business that truly reflects who you are. This last one is actually key because being authentic to me doesn't mean just show up and go with the flow and, AKA be yourself, no script needed, or don't worry about how you act, but there's a space to improve and add skills while still being authentic. Authentic is not standing still and not caring of how you present. So let's touch on why building a business that reflects who you are actually changes everything. Here's something that I have learned slowly. When your business reflects who you are, you don't have to constantly manage your personality. You don't have to wake up thinking, who do I need to be online today? You actually do just show up who you are. And that reduces friction in your brain because when your messaging and your tone and your values and your lifestyle are aligned, you're not acting. You're expressing, and that's sustainable. Performance can really be exhausting. When you build around who you truly are, decision-making becomes easier. Content ideas come more naturally, and consistency doesn't feel forced. That's why alignment is practical, and I'm all for practical. So why do most people start a digital business? We could probably agree that most professionals don't start an online business just because it's trendy. We're doing it for a reason. We want long-term security for later years. We might need flexibility to support aging parents, maybe. Some are navigating a health-related pivot in life. And most of us want autonomy after years and years inside rigid systems. Are you with me on that one? I think most are. So for me, flexibility wasn't just a cute idea. I felt that it was necessarily. I strongly felt that it was necessary. And what made the digital business model I work in powerful wasn't that I had to invent everything. The systems were already built. The automation existed and the framework was there, and the heavy lifting was handled in the background. That meant I didn't have to become someone else. I could focus on what cannot be systemized, and that is my voice, my value, my lived experience, everything of me. And that's where authenticity becomes strategic. Because when the foundation is stable, you are free to be yourself. So here's why consistency is more important than perfect posting. Often we get stuck on thinking we need to post perfectly or close to perfectly. Perfect graphics, catchy captions, the right positioning, and of course, the attention-grabbing hooks. Think about that consistency builds familiarity, and familiarity builds trust. People don't trust perfection. They trust patterns and consistency. When someone sees you show up weekly and speak clearly and understandably, stay aligned with your message that it doesn't jump from here to there, and not reinvent yourself every month, something settles in their mind. It's somewhat automatic. They see that you're steady, and steady does feel safe. Trust online isn't about convincing someone. It's about reducing uncertainty. People are asking themselves often, not even knowing it. Will she disappear? Where will this change next month? Is it stable? But most definitely, they wonder, can I rely on this? When your business reflects who you are, you don't have to remember which version of yourself that you're presenting. And there are no contradictions to manage. Trust becomes easier because alignment creates coherence, and with that comes credibility. What practical shifts then takes us towards authentic alignment? So let's make this realistic. Here are a few shifts that changed things for me. So my first point I've noted is to audit your voice. When I first started building online, especially coming from corporate environments, my writing was, to say the least, stiff. Very polished, proper, very linked in. Just sitting in a meeting room or a Zoom room flipped a switch in my brain to turn on stiff and complication speech zone. And when I posted like that elsewhere, it was cold and distant. Definitely not relatable. My mentor gently helped me see that I should look at writing how I speak. And that felt weird. After so many years of writing to impress or to meet a specific professional standard, it really did feel weird. I had to close my eyes, and sometimes I asked, what would I actually say if this was real conversation? Not sloppy or careless, but human. I'm sure I'm not alone on this, and I still work on it. If you read your last few posts and think, I wouldn't actually sound or say that out loud, that's your cue to take a look and make some adjustments. The second thing is to simplify your platforms. It's completely okay to leave platforms. You do not need to be everywhere, and most of the time you shouldn't. When you're on the right platforms for you, the ones that match your communication style and energy, everything feels lighter and more smooth. It's better to build depth in one or two places than to scatter yourself across 5. Because your energy determines your capacity, and you only have so much. The creative energy, the emotional energy, and even decision energy. I get really tired and get decision fatigue. When that's scattered, your impact actually weakens. But when it's focused, it gets stronger. Depth really does beat scattered visibility. And the third thing is something you can test to do to really get into your why. So you want to go down 7 layers. If your why is something as, straightforward as I want to earn more money, then ask yourself, why do I want to earn more money? Maybe your answer would be so I can travel. But why do I want to travel? So I can feel free, maybe? Then ask again, what is the great part about feeling free? And the answer might be so I don't feel trapped. And then another question deeper would be, what's bad about feeling trapped? So I don't experience what I experienced before, maybe. And just keep going. Ask why 7 times. By the time you reach layer 5 or 6 or 7, you're usually no longer talking about money. You're talking about things like security, like peace, maybe even your dignity and autonomy. And that leads to your contribution. When you understand that deeper reason, your message becomes clearer and more stable. You stop chasing trends and you start building intentionally and purposefully. And working for a purpose and having a contribution to the community means so much more than we might even realize. Number 4, you definitely do not need to be loud to lead. Not everyone needs to be high energy and dramatic to grow. Some of the strongest leaders are steady. They don't shout or perform. They show up consistently and speak clearly. If you're naturally calm, be calm. If you're reflective, then be reflective. If you're strategic, then go with that. Be strategic. You don't need to exaggerate your wiring to compete. And if you're like me, you can be dead tired one day, maybe even feeling really down, and on top of the world the next. Anyone? Anyone like that? There's room for all styles. And that leads to number 5. Alignment creates joy. Alignment isn't just efficient. It brings joy. When your business reflects who you are, work feels like contribution, not performance. And joy feels consistently far better than pressure ever could. So why this matters more than ever? People are tired right now. Tired of everyone sounding the same. Everyone using the same hooks. Everyone's shouting louder. There's really so much noise online. And when everything feels polished and optimized and amplified, it starts to feel artificial. We don't like artificial. Authenticity actually is stabilizing. Think about that. And I believe that builds brands that last. Another point is gaining authority through simplicity. I think about people who are known for one thing. They don't reinvent themselves consistently. They repeat, refine, and deepen their subject, even if it's a simple subject. Like your why. Simon Sinek. His whole point is finding your why. But he does it in a deep way, and that's why he is so successful. Over time, authority in that subject forms. When your structure is clear, you don't wake up wondering, what do I even say today? You already know, because consistency is easier. I'm pretty sure most everybody has been in a place of feeling off, maybe wrong, just misaligned. Maybe you've adjusted strategy before, tweaked messaging, changed platforms. But what if what you need isn't another tactic? What if it's deeper realignment? Not louder or bigger or more stuff, just more you. Because when your business reflects who you truly are, it feels natural, and that lasts. There was a time when it was exhausting to feel that I needed to sound more polished, perfect. But the more I leaned into maintaining my calm, sticking to clarity, and trying to stay aligned with me, the better I felt. Now, we do have to be careful that we don't misunderstand feeling aligned to mean if I don't feel like doing anything, that's okay, because that's not the point. Don't make that mistake of letting things slide because you feel that today it feels aligned to do it that way, and letting your feelings convince you that that means alignment. But you can create a working environment that is more you than what is being preached on social. And I'm also learning new things to put into place so I can keep focusing on good results, creating new things that I feel aligned with. So growing is necessary. Growing is important, not just being aligned with how I feel for the day. That's really important. If you've been craving a way to earn online that fits around your life and not one that requires you to become someone else, I'll keep sharing on how I built mine that way. Not hype or hustle, and I really don't like that word hustle, but actually it's very clear. Hustle is not something that I look forward to doing. And systems that fit me and steady growth. Until next time, build around who you are, and if you need to create time and finances to do that, I can show you a way how to create a side income that can last way beyond compensating time for money and build a solid base for your future. That's where real momentum begins and a great start for a steady future. Stay healthy and happy, and I wish you a great week. I hope this episode helped you move forward toward your goals and dreams, and that inspired you in some way. If it did, please do share it with a friend, and it would help me greatly if you would like to leave a review on the show. Have a look online at bkija.info, where you can find out more about the online business system I chose to run alongside my knitwear business, and that changed everything for me. That's vekija.info. There's a link and more info in the show notes. I'd be happy to mentor you every step of the way. Keep your heads up and take consistent steps forward with your eyes on the prize. And remember, mindset is the largest factor for success. See you next time and be blessed.